a good one. I need a coaster. You guys, I'm dying. I need a party. I'm drinking Brewdog Clockwork Tangerine and I'm partying with you because, whoo, I need some fun. Oh goodness. Hi, you guys. Oh man, I was feeling like such a slug today. Like I just even I'm walking the dog every day because what else do I have to do? But I still am just feeling like my muscles are atrophying from just like not being a person and going out. And I am online all day from 8 to 4:30 all week for my job and just sitting here at this table. All right, so um today I what did I do? I graded some papers and I made French onion soup, vegan French onion soup. It was pretty good. It's okay. Um, but I just I was like I gotta get up and get moving, get pumped. So I put on some music and I put on some makeup and I was like, so I'm zooming with my friend Cassie in about an hour and a half. So as I was putting on makeup, and she's gonna yell at me for putting on makeup, but I was like, oh, why don't I film? I tell you what though, like getting ready and putting on like makeup and listening to music just has me all like pumped to go do something, and I can't go do anything. It's almost worse. It's almost more frustrating. All right, I just brushed my teeth, but we'll get past it. Ugh. This is such a good one if you like IPAs or pale ales. Wait, which one is it? I think it's an IPA, but it's just so good. I keep buying it over and over again. Usually I don't do that with beer. I like to get a different thing every time. I'm the annoying patron at the bar who like doesn't ever order the same thing every time. I'm like, I want something different now. I want something different. I like all beers just about. Oh man. you know, weird things are happening. Are weird things happening to any of you? Like, okay, I read this article. This is going to sound crazy, but I read this article from Vox that was like quarantine is making people's body odor different because you have a different microbial makeup now on your skin. And when I saw that article, I was like, oh my God, I've noticed this because I live alone. So now I am not sharing microbes with anybody. I have nobody else's microbes on me at all, except maybe River and Clover. I don't know if that translates. Hang on. Oh my God, my allergy is so bad. But yes, it was all about how like your body odor can change, and I feel like I've noticed that. I've also been super zitty. Like I'm breaking out, and I'm wondering if that's the thyroid. That I'm again like swinging hypo now. Even though I got to cut down my medicine, I think I'm gonna cut it down like a little bit more. Start doing some crazy like fourth pills and things. Anyway, you guys, ugh. I went to the grocery store Wednesday at lunch. I wore my mask and everything. The only person that it's weird how like just a couple weeks ago if you were wearing a mask you looked like kind of crazy, and now like you look stupid if you're not, because everybody was except for like a couple people, and one of them was this pregnant lady who got all up in my face trying to talk to me. I don't know why. I don't think I looked friendly and approachable. I had like my hood on because it was raining and the mask. Um, but yeah, she was talking about how ridiculous and crazy this whole thing is. And I'm like, lady, you're pregnant. Like, you should probably be a little careful. I don't know. I'm not here to judge other people, whatever. But I didn't want her that as close to me as she was. And then my sister told me pregnant people can have it like more likely and not have any symptoms. She's like, you better be careful. I'm like, oh my God, great. Anyway, that was Wednesday. Today's Saturday. I feel fine. But like today I finally had to put all my groceries away. But yes, what a hassle. And then the mask is so hot and my face was sweating and it was like making me like sweat all right here. And then I was so, my whole body, it just made me feel so hot. Like by the time I got home, I was just dripping sweat. And of course it was on my lunch break, so I couldn't even take a shower. I had to like finish working for the day before I could go take a cold shower. I shouldn't have to go back now for a while, except I didn't buy a Mother's Day card, and I'm like, oh, now I'm gonna have to go buy one of those somewhere. Um, I might be able to just do that at like a Walgreens or CVS or something, because the grocery store was crazy. This time when I went, it was really busy. Now they did have toilet paper, but you could only buy like a little pack of 6 rolls at a time. They had like opened the big packs that were selling them individually, so there was like a super limit on what you could buy, and they still don't have any disinfectant. So like there was toilet paper, paper towels, tissues, not the brands that you want, but they had it, but like it's not the good stuff. But like I just actually like regular Kleenex, and they only had puffs, and I don't like puffs as much because I feel like they're linty, but I had to buy them anyway. But yes, still no disinfectant. I had to go to a second store, and the second store had the yellow Windex, which is supposed to be antibacterial, but still no Lysol, no Clorox, no wipes, nothing like that. Which is fine because I don't need that right now, but it was an observation. I did need the Windex, I got that. So yes, aside from that one trip to the grocery store, which is only my third trip to the grocery store since this has all started, I haven't done anything. I haven't gone anywhere, and it is really killing me. It's really killing me now. I miss my friends. I just miss being in the world and having something to do. I have a lot of papers to grade this weekend. I still have to sand and paint that mirror. I'm still working on putting all my stuff on the curb, but it's not cutting it, man. I'm still starting to get so antsy. You know, I did watch something that was cool the other night. I started watching Unorthodox on Netflix, and I binged the whole thing straight. It's 4 1-hour episodes, and I made the mistake of starting it at like 9 p.m., so I was up till like after 1, but it was so good. But that's the only like binging I've done. And speaking of putting stuff on the curb, I really liked reading your comments on my last video. It's a long one, I know, but if you're bored, I think it's pretty funny, and I really liked the comments. But then I found myself, when I was putting stuff out on the curb, I couldn't put it all out. Like trash night was Thursday night. I put some of it out. I put like the prom dresses out, and then I was like, okay, I can't part with anything else right now. It's too emotional. So it's like going to be in shifts. It's going to take me 3 or 4 garbage pickups to actually get it all out of there. Plus my trash can's really small, and so is my recycle bin. So anyway, but yeah, I showed all those books, like I put them on like all my social media, so like my coworkers are like asking about them too, and my boss was saying that we should, I don't know where she got this idea. She's like, I want you to write it as a screenplay, and we can all play the characters, and we'll act it out, because that's how bored we all are right now. And I was like, well, I don't know, it's called Too Many Guys. There are a lot of parts. She's like, I could play a guy, I think, if I put on a baseball cap. Probably one of the only silver linings to all of this is that I'm closer with my coworkers, because I used to work out of the office. I didn't interact with them all like every day, and now we're all connected virtually all day. And it's kind of a pain because I have to be up and at work every day, and we have a video chat every other day, and so I have to be like on and working, which is, you know, fine. That's what I'm supposed to do. But, you know, some people during quarantine are like working from bed, you know, not really putting on any makeup or doing anything, and I still have to do that. But yeah, at least I have a job. They did do some cutting, like they cut our phone stipends. I used to get phone stipend. I'm not getting any travel voucher reimbursements now because I'm not going anywhere. And the travel reimbursements used to be nice because they covered more than just your gas. So it was kind of like I was making money for putting wear and tear on my own car. But I'm not getting that anymore. But I'm also not spending near as much. So my credit card bill was like, this is really bad. My credit card bill was like 1/3 of what it normally is, just because I haven't gone out. Like literally, it was 1/3 of what my normal credit card bill is, plus the vet. So the $500 from the vet was on there, but aside from the vet, if you took that out, which was a special thing, then yes, apparently when I got that bill, I was like, I spend way too much money going out. Oh man, because I'm still spending a little money at the grocery store, but that's like it. And then waiting forever for my Bath & Body Works order. So, you know, I thought it was funny how this, what was it, Thursday morning, they put some new candles online, and just limited quantities, kind of like how they did with the unicorn collection last summer already? That one I caught because it was on a Saturday morning, but everyone's posting like, if you slept in today, you missed out on the candles. I'm like, slept in? How about if you have a job, you missed out on the candles? Because I don't wake up and check Instagram before I am at work, you know what I mean? I usually don't get a chance to do that till like lunch break. So I totally missed that, and I'm kind of glad though, because of the fact that there's no information out there. No one's ever smelled them before. People don't know if they're repackages or not. I think I would have had like a moment of panic where I would have been like, should I get this or not? It's probably a repackage. I don't know. and then I would have spent all this money, and then you can't return them to the store right now. I've still got my coconut palm or whatever that I want to exchange at the store, and who knows if I'll ever, when the heck the store will actually be open. But I did find it kind of weird that they had like new products out at a sale when they haven't filled orders from over 2 weeks before. I'm not complaining, but I wish that they had just said like, okay, might take 3 weeks to ship. But instead they keep sending me emails that are, it's like, we still expect it to be on time, gonna be on time. Then they stopped saying that and they just started saying, it's coming, we're working on it. And then now they're ghosting me. I've gotten nothing. And I'm like, if people get those new candles before I get my order from the 18th, I'm gonna be pissed, annoyed. Like, I'm trying not to be a jerk about it. Like, I get that it's taking a long time, but I think they should fulfill those orders before they get a bunch of new ones. I don't know. That just makes sense to me, but order fulfillment and product presentation is probably two different departments. I don't know. Anyway, so, I guess what I had planned to talk about in this blog is going to seem a little like far out, but that's where I'm at right now, to where like quarantine is making me like just think a lot. And you know what I was thinking the other day? And it all comes together with something I've been meaning to talk about on my channel anyway, which is I have this theory I call the cats in an apartment theory. And it's kind of that we're all kind of like cats in an apartment. But I'm gonna work our way there. So, Josh works at one of the hospitals here. He works in software development. He's working every day. Weekends, there's no weekend for him, and he's working till midnight. He's constantly working, because he's making all their models. And so they're building models to predict, when it's going to get bad here and how much they're going to need of everything and all this stuff. And he's talking about the latest model and how so far, like, it's pretty accurate and things have gone the way that the model has predicted. And I stopped him as he was talking about this, and I was like, wait, you know what this is making me think of? This just has me thinking, I definitely have thought about this before, but it seems more now than ever that we totally live in a computer simulation. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but bear with me here. So I have always been a really big fan of simulation theory, but I'm not saying, like, I'm not like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Elon Musk here. Like, I'm not like saying like for sure I believe it. I'm just saying like I wouldn't be surprised to find out that we did. Like, I definitely think it's possible, and sometimes I just think about it like in just a thought experiment kind of way. And some people think it's sacrilegious, but it's totally not. Like, actually, for me, simulation theory makes religion make more sense to me than anything else. So, let me just explain this. But, yeah, so that's where I'm at, where I'm like, I'm not like totally like, yes, we live in a simulation, but I'm just like, we could, and this whole coronavirus thing certainly makes it seem like we do, to me, because it would totally give a reason for this simulation that is our life, right? Like, somebody's trying to figure out what happens when you put Donald Trump in charge of the U.S. and unleash a pandemic. Oh, let's see what happens there, right? But no. So simulation theory is this. It's the idea that there's really only three outcomes for humankind, and one is that, well, first you have to kind of think about the fact that technology is always moving forward, and it's very rapidly. I mean, think about how I found those cassette tapes in my garage, and like now how we laugh at that, but that was only like 25 years ago that like everyone had cassette tapes. Had to do some quick math there. And think about how like in the 80s, like if you saw an iPhone, you'd be like, what? That's crazy. It would seem insane to you. And then think about in like just like 50 years ago, if you knew what an iPhone was, you wouldn't even really be able to comprehend it. So think about how, in another 100 years, what are we going to have? In another 1,000 years, what are we going to have? In another 10,000 years, what are we going to have, right? And you have to believe that at some point, if civilization was allowed to continue, we would develop human consciousness. We would be able to create a simulation which has consciousness, like human beings with consciousness in it. I don't know. And I think that's the biggest mystery, because that's one of the biggest mysteries of science, period, is what is consciousness? And I think that's very interesting. I watch a lot of YouTube videos on this, right? It's like the one thing that you just can't figure out, which I think that's because I am a spiritual person, and I'm not just a believer in like Big Bang Theory, cells happen to come together and you die and you go to dirt and all that stuff. Like, I do think there's a soul and something else going on, right? And but simulation theory, getting back to that. So the theory is that there's only 3 outcomes. One is that humans will go extinct before we get to that point where we can develop consciousness in a simulation. 2 is that we will get to that point, but we will decide not to do it, maybe for ethical reasons or whatever. If you watch Black Mirror. And then the 3rd is that we will get to that point and do it. And if you believe that that's the outcome, then there's almost 100% chance that we live in a simulation. Because if you believe that humans will eventually get to that point, and unless we get hit by a meteor relatively soon, we probably will, and then you believe that someone runs one somewhere, then you have to believe that that simulation advances through and runs another simulation, and that advances and runs another. And then, if every simulation gets to the point where they're running simulations, and there's so many simulations, the chances that we're in the actual real original first reality is like basically none. So that's simulation theory, but why I find this such an intriguing thought experiment is because I think of it alongside religion, and I think simulation theory actually answers like all of life's greatest questions. What is the meaning of life? Well, if we're a model, we're a simulation. Someone is running a simulation to find something out. If you ever do listen to like Neil deGrasse Tyson, he talks about ancestor simulations and that humans eventually might run simulations of their past to see like how things went in history or how things might have gone differently if something was a little bit different. Again, like what would happen if there was a pandemic right now? I don't know. And hey Riv, what you doing? Hello, I see you back there. So, anyway, a lot of reasons one might run a simulation. I mean, we could be somebody's like high school science project in the far future, right? We could be some like 3rd grader science fair project. We could be like a really bad one. Like this could be like an F. Like they were supposed to create a utopia and instead they did this. Like you failed. These people are miserable. I mean, there's so many different scenarios to think about with that. But yes, it answers the question, what is the meaning of life? It answers questions like the Fermi paradox. Why have not we found life on other planets? Like if you think about the universe being infinite, then there's got to be life on other planets somewhere at some point in time. And a lot of scientists think it's kind of weird that we haven't found it yet, and it hasn't found us, and simulation theory would explain that, because maybe we are the only planet in this simulation. They didn't build out the simulation that far. I don't know. It explains things, I think, such as, and this is where some of you might be like, nope, I can't listen to this anymore. This is too crazy. But for me, I think it explains things like who is God? What is prayer? Why do bad things happen to good people? Is God good or bad? Because if you think about like playing The Sims, I mean, I don't want to go there, but I'm going there. You're playing The Sims and maybe you're mostly just watching it happen. You're letting it happen. You're not really screwing with people. I don't think like God is like screwing with us like we're a freaking Sims game, right? But it might be a situation where like you're mostly just watching things play out and seeing what happens. But if you get enough of those little thought bubbles where the Sims are like asking for things and telling you things, like they're really asking and then they keep asking, then you might give it to them, right? And that would explain like prayer and the power of prayer and how like if a bunch of people are praying for something, it might be more effective than just one person and all that stuff. It's just a thought experiment. I'm not creating a new religion here. I'm not a cult leader, and I'm not saying that I believe this. I'm just saying I thought about this. And then, why do bad things happen to good people? Well, because, creator of the simulation isn't just like totally micromanaging everything that's happening. Things are just happening. And they can go in there and they can change things if they want to, but they can also just let it happen. And again, who knows, who created the simulation and for what purpose. Anyway, I just think I had already thought about all this stuff, and maybe I just watched too much Black Mirror. But the Black Mirror episode, the one with the online dating website, that's one of my favorite ones. Actually, my favorite Black Mirror episode is White Christmas, for sure. But I really like the one with the dating website because the idea of it is that, like, it tells you what percent you match with somebody, and if it says like 98%, it's because it actually like copied your consciousness and their consciousness and put you in a simulation together and watched you like play out a scenario, and 98 times out of 100 you guys like stay together and like each other in one or whatever. So it says like 98%, but you could be like that consciousness in the game. I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm not 100% ruling out the possibility that we live in a simulation. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to get too crazy here, but I have gone crazy due to the quarantine, so you can blame this video on that. But how does this, and also the other thing is, I think one of the other biggest questions in life is there life after death? What happens after you die? I'm a big fan of reincarnation, honestly. I didn't ever used to be. I was raised in a very, like, standard Christian home where you just believe those standard things, heaven, hell, all of that. But the older I've gotten, I really feel like reincarnation makes a lot of sense to me. And if, in simulation theory, people recycled consciousness, like in, where do they do that at? It's not San Junipero that they do that, but there's definitely, like, well, anyway, that kind of makes sense to me too. I don't know, because I definitely feel like those stories. I've said the word definitely a lot. You hear those stories about like young kids who can remember like past lives, and they're like super accurate, and they like know nothing about these other people. Then they look and they're like, oh my god, there was a pilot who died. Like that one, that's a crazy one. Anyway, so cats in an apartment. Here's the bottom line. It's interesting to sit around and talk about this and think about this. And there are a lot of people out there who fight about religion and argue, and, we've had wars over it and everything else. But I think the only thing that anyone knows for sure is that nobody knows for sure. Nobody knows any of this. Nobody knows if there's life after death. Nobody knows if there's a reason that we're here. Nobody knows if we live in a simulation or not. Nobody knows if there's a God for sure or not. You just don't know. But I don't think that we even could know, even if we were told the truth. Because, really, we're all cats in an apartment. So, I came up with this theory back when I lived in an apartment. I could change it to like cats in a townhome, but I'm not going to. Cats in an apartment has a better ring to it. But I would look at my cat and I would look at her like looking out the window, and I would just think, her whole world is like my apartment. And like sometimes she gets in her carrier and she goes to the vet. But otherwise, she lives in my apartment. I don't think she really even probably remembers like the shelter anymore or whatever. Even if she did, her world is very small. And she has walked outside of my porch like a couple times where I've been like, oh no, Clover, and I get her back inside. She doesn't go too far. She doesn't have the instincts to run away. A couple times when I've had the door open, taking the dog out, all of a sudden the cat walks between my legs, and I'm like, no. But, anyway, she looks out the window. She can see across the street. Perhaps she could even imagine what's beyond the house across the street. Perhaps she can think about, the trees back there and what's going on. And she doesn't really know, and she'll never know. She'll never know what's behind the house across the street for sure. But she can guess, she can speculate, she can think about it. But if I were to tell her about Chicago, she wouldn't even get it. Like she knows my apartment really well. That's where she has explored. That is where her world is. And outside on the street and across the street, that's the universe. And the house across the street's another planet. And, and she can think about what else is out there. But then you actually tell her about, like, Chicago. You tell her about China. You sit there and you tell my cat about outer space, she wouldn't even be able to get it because her brain is teeny tiny. It wouldn't even be a thing that she could comprehend, you know? And I think that's what we are. That's us in the universe. That even if you explained it all to us, our limited, stupid human brains wouldn't even be able to get it. Because have you ever tried to think about like the beginning of time? Except there is no beginning of time because time has always been there and there's nothing before it. Or try to think about like how the universe is infinite and it goes on forever and it never ends. There's no like end. It just like is always going. Like it hurts your brain because humans can't even comprehend no beginning, no end, infinite space and time. It's not even, and just like how Clover can't comprehend the other side of the world, because she's a cat. So I just think in the end, we don't really know why we're here and we'll never know. And it's good to seek answers. That's part of being human, to think about this stuff, but I don't know. We probably live in the Matrix. I didn't know what the purpose of this simulation was, but now I'm starting to think it's a coronavirus model. So anyway, when I told Josh that, he was like, our model's not that advanced, but there are some other models that do have like data points for human beings and run them through, like if this person probably goes to the store and this person probably has them hitting together and infection. And he's like, I could definitely see it getting a little more complicated, a little more complicated, a little more intense, and pretty soon. I'm like, yep, we definitely live in a simulation. I feel like this is the kind of thing that me and Josh would sit around at the bar and like have a bunch of have a few drinks and like you're really into talking about, and people next to us would be like, those two are freaking crazy. What are they talking about? And now, because I don't get to go out anymore, I'm talking to you guys about it. And y'all are going to be like, I just started listening to this girl because of candles. And now she's talking about we live in a computer. What? If you haven't watched Black Mirror, I definitely recommend that for your quarantine viewing. It's good. It makes you think. Like, a lot of the episodes are good. Some are bad, but a lot of them are good. There's a lot of lists online that like rank them, and you definitely don't have to watch them in order. Some of them are connected to each other, but not really. There's a theory that they're all connected, but whatever. Anyway, what else is good? Glow. I always recommend Glow to people on Netflix. I really liked that. Master of None is awesome. What else have I watched that's really good? Russian Doll was good. Living with Yourself with Paul Rudd was good. I'm sure there's some other things that I just love that I'm missing out on, but I need some recommendations, I guess. So feel free to recommend some things to me. All that crazy talk, and I've only had half a beer, and I still have an hour before my friend's jumping on Zoom. But anyway, this video is 30 minutes now, so I can definitely cut out some of the beginning when I'm running around. All right, I'm gonna keep the music going. Thanks for watching. I'm probably gonna lose some subscribers after I post this crazy talk. That's fine. I hope I get my Bath & Body Works package soon so I can film a haul. I need something exciting. I really do. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, and I keep trying to apply for more dogs. And they keep, like, getting adopted before I can even get my application in. And some people just don't even write me back. So it's, like, impossible to get a dog right now. So that's where that's at. Yep. I think that's probably all I wanted to talk about. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Who's got a tiny brain? What the tiniest little brain? I actually run this simulation. You are my creation. I am the queen of the universe.